Hey guys, welcome back to the Halo Forge epidemic. This is Psychoduck, and I am here to talk about the Halo 5 Guardians multiplayer beta today. Before I get into that, I again would like to apologize for our recent lack of uploads. To be perfectly honest, that is largely caused by the current state of the Master Chief Collection and the game just being, hosting customs just being incredibly difficult, and all sorts of problems there, which has led to a lack of motivation for many of us, and we're hoping to get back in the swing of things soon, so thanks for sticking with us. I apologize about that again. Anyways, with the Halo 5 beta that it has opened up today, if you didn't know, if you have Halo the Master Chief Collection, you have access to the Halo 5 beta, so you should get on trying that out. But anyways, I want to just talk a little bit about a few things regarding the beta. There's really a lot to talk about. I mean, this is a new Halo game, and we haven't seen a new Halo game in a couple of years, so this is big news in a lot of ways. And I want to talk about several things regarding the mechanics of this game, some things that I think the game does really well, some things that I think that the game does not do really well, and just all sorts of things, and some feedback on how I feel that some of this stuff could be improved will come later. But anyways, I've played several games of the beta so far. I'm still testing the waters, trying things out, and I will get you guys more beta coverage as the week, or well, actually as the beta goes on. But anyways, regarding the beta, so thinking about this as a Halo game is kind of interesting. So as far as I'm concerned, there are two different things that are at the core of the gameplay of any Halo game. Two things, that the series has always been founded on, and this is the gameplay, and these are the real core aspects. So there are other smaller things. I'm not talking about the story or the universe. I'm talking about the actual game mechanics themselves and the gameplay. So the first thing that is really core to Halo has always been this foundation on a competitive arena. This thing where everyone starts with the same weapon, and the players that use what they are given the best, and control the map the best, and control the weapons on the map the best, and work with their teammates the best, are the players that win. Because it's not because of they select something special to spawn with and that allows them to win. It's even playing field. Whoever uses the tools they're given the best wins. So that is one core aspect, and that was almost entirely absent in Halo 4. It was mostly absent in Halo Reach, or partially absent anyway. Almost entirely absent in Halo 4, and that was a huge problem. I mean, people blew up about it, and it was not good. It was a really bad direction for Halo to go in. And I am very glad to see that 343 has realized this and has made almost a complete U-turn on this front. I mean, Halo 5 is from the ground up about even starts, about map and weapon control, all this stuff. I mean, they said it like day one when they started talking about the game, and that's really good. That's really, really good, and it's clear to me that that is a big focus in this game. There are a few like new mechanics on this front regarding like map and weapon control, mainly that between the Spartan chatter and like on-screen like hints. It's easier to know, like, keep track of when weapons are respawning and whatnot. And I think that's a really good feature, or set of features, for the casual game. When you're playing matchmaking with a bunch of randoms without mics, having these hints of when these weapons are going to be coming back up is really good. I think it allows people to still play Halo, that way, controlling the map and the weapons without necessarily communicating directly with teammates. I hope some of that stuff can be disabled for more competitive play, because otherwise it sort of becomes a crutch. In competitive play, it's kind of like the radar versus no radar argument. You shouldn't be relying on those tools. You should be more alert, more aware, and really communicating with your team to keep track of these sort of things in competitive play. So if we can disable those, that's great. And you know, I think those features are cool. Some of the Spartan chatter is completely unnecessary. Like, oh, you got a double kill, save some for me. I don't know why some of that's in there. It's kind of stupid, but anyways, that's just my opinion. Yeah, so basically my point is, though, on this front, the competitive, even footing, best man wins sort of concept, Halo has returned to that, and that's really important. Now, the other core aspect of Halo's gameplay that has been around since day one is the idea of Halo as a run-and-gun shooter. Now, normally run-and-gun means like randomly running around, spraying and praying. That's not what this refers to. What this refers to is that in Halo, movement mechanics and shooting mechanics have always been tied together, so that in Halo you are always able to shoot. Your weapon is always readied while you're moving. So while you're jumping through the air, while you're running around, your weapon is always ready. And it creates a high skill gap, for one thing, because you really have to be thinking about not only your aim, but also your strafe and how you're moving. And, you know, if you see people who are used to playing other shooters, like many modern shooters do not have this. So, you know, many modern shooters have aim down sights and whatnot, where you know, you're more encouraged to either be shooting or moving, you know, not doing both at the same time. And that's something that's always set Halo apart. You know, if you see someone who's used to playing other shooters come and play Halo, as they get their bearings, a lot of times they will sort of you know, stand still while they're shooting, and then they'll move, and then they'll stand still again and shoot. And you know, that's something that really defines Halo and has really been at the core of it forever. Now, if you are familiar with Halo 5's feature set, I think you'll know where I'm going with this. Halo 5 kind of throws all this out the window. Now, Reach sort of started to do this. We had like Sprint, the introduction of Sprint really started to go away from this. And, you know, that really kind of causes problems, because then suddenly you have these abilities that are only movement abilities. And like I said, Halo's always been founded on the idea of all mechanics being simultaneously shooting mechanics and movement mechanics. So, you know, that's built into Halo's identity since day one. So removing that, you know, takes something away from the game, and it's something really big. I mean, this is a huge fundamental aspect of Halo. So in this game we have not only Sprint, which is exclusively a movement mechanic, but we have aim down sights, or smart scope, which does behave like an aim down sights, despite us being told that it did not. The smart scope actually does decrease bullet spread, make your weapons more accurate. We'll talk about that more in a minute. But that mechanic is more of a shooting mechanic and not a movement mechanic. It does not slow your movement speed, but you are going to be less mobile while using the smart scope, because that's just the nature of it. You know, it brings your weapon in closer to your HUD. It's more about shooting and less about moving. So now we have two core mechanics in the game, and one is exclusively a movement mechanic, and the other is not exclusively a shooting mechanic, but is certainly focused on shooting. So these are both really at odds with you know, this core foundational aspect of Halo. So I've seen a lot of people say, like, what's wrong with, you know, the smart scope? It's just like the scope in previous Halo games. Yes and no. So, yeah, you know, like the smart scope on the DMR is no different than the scope on the DMR ever was. Same with the sniper rifle. But what you have to keep in mind is that in Halo, we've never had automatic weapons with scopes, with the exception of Halo 3 ODST's suppressed SMG, which had a scope, which was brought into Halo 2 Anniversary. But now, Smart Scope is attached to all weapons, and being able to zoom on these automatic weapons in particular makes them more powerful at long range. It tightens their spread, which you could never do in the past. And again, you know, the Smart Scope is this shooting focused mechanic, so it detracts from this core aspect of Halo. Now, other mechanics in the game, like the thruster pack, I've been saying for a while now, I would love for thruster to be a main ability that's always available to players in Halo. I envision it as being sort of a horizontal jump. Now, in this game, your weapon is actually lowered when you use thruster, which again is at odds with what I'm talking about. So thruster is in this game a movement mechanic, not a shooting mechanic. That could be changed easily enough. In a perfect world, I think thruster would replace sprint as like a base mechanic, and because that would still allow you to do sprint jumps and whatnot. But anyways, so the thruster kind of follows this pattern again of being not a mechanic that lends itself both to shooting and movement. And then we have, I mean, the other mechanics like ground pound and the slide and whatnot really I don't see them breaking anything per se. I don't see them as necessary by any means. But anyways, and then we have clamber, which again is something where your weapon is lowered. It's not a shooting mechanic, it's just a movement mechanic. It also detracts from skill jumps quite a bit. I've noticed, there are so many jumps in Halo 5 that I've looked at like, oh, this should be a jump where I have to do a crouch jump, but unless I'm mistaken, it seems that crouch jumping is all but gone, because the crouch button is actually used for ground pound while you're in midair. So crouch jumping is gone, and now we just have to tap A again to clamber. That kind of removes a layer of skill from the game. If they could at least tone that down a little bit, that would be great, but I don't know, we'll see. Anyways, my point is that we have these two core foundational elements in Halo. One of them, the competitive arena aspect, was completely just crapped on in Halo 4, and they realized that, and they made a U-turn, and they fixed that, and that's at the forefront of this game, and that's great. I'm really happy about that in this game. But the other mechanic being this run and gun mentality of every mechanic being both a shooting mechanic and a movement mechanic, that's the one being crapped on in this game. So it's like kind of an unfortunate trade-off. Now, in all honesty, I've thoroughly enjoyed playing this game so far. I think the game feels very nice. It feels smooth to me. Some people have said it feels clunky. I think it feels pretty smooth. I enjoy the game. I think it is a good game, but it is losing something which has been central to Halo's identity since day one. And I think that's a huge problem when it's a Halo game, So the game is I don't know, it's kind of an interesting beast, because there is actually a lot of skill involved in some of these new movement mechanics. I think there is a lot of depth to them. I mean, there's absolutely a learning curve to using some of these. And all these movement mechanics, primarily movement mechanics, and that's really interesting, that's cool, but it's directly in contrast with something which has always been core to Halo. So I hope that I don't know, it's kind of an odd spot for the game to be in, and I know some people will claim that I'm hating on the game, which I'm not, And I know that some people will say, oh, well, it's a beta, that's why it's a beta, they can fix all that. Unfortunately, sprint and the smart scope and whatnot are core mechanics in this game. At this point, they're not going to go anywhere. And for the record, I think that the idea that your shields don't recharge while you're sprinting, I think that's a great idea. It's a good way to nerf sprint a little bit, but the mechanic is inherently at odds with that, you know, central core aspect of Halo that I've been talking about. So nerfing it doesn't change that, you know. So frankly, it is disappointing as a Halo player, despite my initial excitement over this focus that they once again have on the arena game. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing. And again, I'm not hating on the game. I think that some of these mechanics could be tweaked a little bit, like allow us to keep our weapon ready while using thruster, maybe make clamber more difficult to use, you know, etc. But you know, it's again, it's an odd spot for a Halo game. So anyways, guys, I think this has gone on long enough. So I'm gonna keep playing the beta. I hope you guys are gonna be playing it too. Let me know what you think about some of the things I've said, because I think some of this is really important for Halo. And you know, I don't know, we'll see where this goes. We'll see how this game ends up. Again, I'm enjoying playing it despite not enjoying it for the reasons that I would expect to be enjoying a Halo game. So it's weird. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. We'll have more Halo 5 beta stuff coming in the coming days and weeks. We'll also have hopefully some map features here in the Master Chief Collection very soon. We've got at least one of those on the way, and as the bugs with that game are hammered out, hopefully sooner rather than later, we'll start to get you know, pick up the pace on our uploads and whatnot again. So thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy playing the beta. This has been Psychoduck with THFE. Bye bye.